Shalom Aleichem, welcome to Machen Leira Online Smicha. Over the last couple of weeks, we've studied Parshas Kisisa, which talks about the Shkalim, and then we had Parshas Shkalim, which talks about the Shkalim, and then Rosh Chodesh Adar came, and the Mishnah says, Rosh Chodesh Adar Mashmiyam al Shkalim, and many people, I'm sure, have learned a lot about the concept of Shkalim, and there was beautiful speeches about the significance of the Maxtzis shekel, the shekel being a half, because you're only half, you need a second half to do it together. Beautiful stuff. But let's talk about the halachic view of the Maxtzis shekel, and as it is today. For example, each to his own custom. When is the Mishnah Taka says Be'echad Ba'adar Mashmir Mal Shkalim. The Rosh Chodesh Adar, they already made announcements reminding people to give the shekel. So what is the time to actually give it? So we find different customs. Some give it on Tainus Esther, some give it on Purim, some give it before, each to his custom. Now, what do people give? People think that because you give Maxtzis HaShekel, because the minig, the mitzvah is called Maxtzis HaShekel, you have to give Maxtzis, and from the Maxtzis that you give, we give three. Why would you give three Maxtzis HaShekel? It's either or. Are you doing what was done in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, during the times in Parshas Kisisa? They didn't give three Maxtzis HaShekel. Over there, they only gave one Maxtzis HaShekel. That Maxtzis HaShekel was as a kapara and for the egel. And then the other two donations that they gave weren't the Maxtzis HaShekel. Only one. So how it became that we give three Maxtzis HaShekel, it's to correspond or to remember the three donations, but the actual Maxtzis was only one. Therefore, it becomes a halacha. If somebody can't get his hands on a Maxtzis, whatever the Maxtzis today would be, a half a silver dollar, or whatever your custom is, there's no reason why you cannot give tzedakah, Maxtzis HaShekel, as a zecher, other items. If the full dollars, full coins, because the other two, which you're giving, were in commemoration of what took place, weren't even a Maxtzis. When you talk about the Maxtzis, there's actually an interesting halacha that comes about this. There's a discussion, we know the Mishnah says that a cotton up to 20 doesn't really have to give Maxtzis HaShekel. Why? Since the whole Maxtzis HaShekel was given as a kapara, now even though a bar mitzvah boy becomes a bar chiyuv, you don't become a bar einshim until you're 20. So anybody, God forbid, who was involved in the egel up to 20 wasn't a bar einish. He didn't have to get a kapara. So there is no need for a Maxtzis HaShekel for ktanim, and up to 20. So what happens if some reason he started giving, or a father gave on his children's behalf? So the halacha is brought that once you start giving, even though you didn't need to, you still have to continue doing it. Fine, that's about a cotton. How about women? Do you have to give Maxtzis HaShekel? Do women have to give Maxtzis HaShekel? Now again, you might know what you see people around you do. People around you, the custom is that you give for everybody in your family. You give on behalf of your wife. You don't see the women coming to shul doing it, but the husband gives Maxtzis HaShekel on behalf of his wife. But that's not necessarily the halacha. That's a very good thing. Tzedakah is always good. What is the halachic view about if women are obligated to give tzedakah, give Maxtzis HaShekel? So as mentioned before, Maxtzis was a kapara for the egel. The women weren't part of the Maisa Egel. And we know what the Torah writes, the reason why the women are makbet to celebrate Rosh Chodesh, they get one more yontif over men, because they deserve it. There was one thing that we flopped, and the woman stood strong and didn't get involved. And they got a yontif for it. They were not part of Maisa Egel. So the Alshich says, the reason why you didn't give Maxtzis HaShekel, because every man is only half, it's a palga de gufa, only half of him sinned. So to commemorate the fact that half of you sinned, your better half, the wife, did not sin, you give a Maxtzis. So this is also a reason why women are not mechuyev in giving the Maxtzis HaShekel. However, the Magen Avram in Siman Tafrei Sadik Dalet Sifkat and Gimel brings other opinions that say that they have to give Maxtzis HaShekel, and the minig became that the husband gives it on her behalf. Speaking about the Maxtzis, I'll say one more interesting word. Halachically, why machzis? We said about half of you did wrong. The other half stood strong. There is another point of half. The whole Maisa Egel came about because the Yidden miscalculated a half a day. They were often 6 hours. That's what the pasuk says that they were upset. The Kim Boishes Moshe Loredes. Moshe is delayed coming down from Shemayim. And Rashi gives the whole calculation. Ba Shesh. 6 hours of the day came, he's not here. So half of the day came, and so they got all riled up to make the egel. So because a half a day was the cause of what made the egel, that's why specifically we do it as a machzis shekel. One last point about the machzis shekel. If you look in Tosfos in Megillah says when the Yidden gave the machzis shekel, and you calculate the exact number of how much the grand total of the machzis shekel was given, that's the exact number that Haman wanted to give Asaras Alafim Kikar Kesef. And that's why the Eibusha says to Haman, smart Alec, the Yidden already outdid you. They gave their shkolim to outdo your plot.